Linh-chan and Dimi-chan play games. Welcome back, Chan-chans.
Welcome back, Chan-chans.
Today we discover, no, we don't discover, we explore the forest belly
Navel.
button. Yes, land in the belly button. Come into the belly button. The forest belly button. Isn't that what a navel is? And I'm confused now.
Yeah, that's what we call a belly button. Navel.
A wonderful piece of life. So Lynn, the other day we spoke about her pickled plums and olives, and she was eating them the other day, and out of one of them was a little friend.
Oh my gosh! Oh, oh, it was so gross. This is.
Go on.
I don't know what to say except it was so gross. There was a dead worm on the inside of one of the preserved olives that I was eating, and I wasn't paying attention, but after I took a bite and I looked at the olive, I was like, what is this long dark thing that is just right in the middle of it, right? And then I looked at the outside on the skin part. There was a hole, and then I looked closer. I don't think I had glasses on at that time, so I looked closer, and it was like a giant. Well, it wasn't giant, but it was a whole worm that was just buried inside the olive. And I guess when they were making the olive, when they were preserving it, they didn't like sort them through.
They didn't even notice, probably.
Yeah, they didn't notice. So then, like, I took a bite and it was just chilling there. Well, dead, but chilling there.
Well, now you know to, like, find other holes in the olives, right?
Every time I eat, I have to, like, inspect. Every time I eat a fruit now, I have to inspect whether there's a hole in the fruit or not. Because if there's a hole in the outside of the fruit, meaning something crawled its way in there. But yeah.
It's an extra amount of protein, right?
Yeah, and it's already dead, so it's fine. But it's just gross knowing that it was in there, you know. And who knows how long it's been living in there before it got preserved, mummified. It got mummified.
You had a mummified little friend in your olive.
Got mummified in the olive. Oh my goodness. Oh, speaking of, oh my gosh, I need to stop saying that.
OSEG.
Yeah, I need to say, oh, someone else is God. I keep forgetting because it's so natural to say, oh my gosh, you know? So we came up with this thing where whenever we want to say, oh my God, we have to correct ourselves and say, oh, someone else is God, because Dimitri and I, well, I don't know about you, but I'm
It's not for me. Let's put it that way. So it doesn't make sense for me to refer to my God since I don't have one. But there are plenty of other people with gods, so why not use theirs? So, right. Oh, someone else's God.
Well, when people say the word God, they're pretty much referring to like a Christian God or a Catholic God. Right? That's where the notion comes from, right?
I'd imagine.
Oh my God, right? But I mean, I kind of grew up Buddhist. I grew up in a Buddhist family, but we weren't like super religious, you know, like on certain occasions or on certain holidays. Kind of like with the Japanese, there's like they have saints for everything, and then there's like certain days that are designated towards that.
Not the Japanese, the French or the Europeans in general, I guess.
No, the Japanese have it too. Like on certain days, it's designated to that saint or whatever.
They don't really have saints, do they?
No. Or spirits. Or
yeah, spirits. I was saying.
Oh, I call it. It's the same thing.
Not really.
But like,
but
so
okay.
then like when I was little, we would do certain days, you know, of the month. We would do some sort of like offering or whatever. But as I grew older, like I wasn't really interested in religion in general. You know, so back to our point. we're trying to correct ourselves from saying "oh my god" to saying "oh someone else is God."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, oh my god, this thing's trying to steal
your
my
pebble.
pellet. Give it back to me. Come on, little guys. You can do it.
Why don't you add more?
I can't add more than 2 on that one, but it seems to be doing the job. Let's see if we can finish them off.
Oh, you're killing it.
There you
That thing
go.
looks so gross. Where did that,
I think it came out from inside of him.
Oh, is that why he was able to walk through the water because he was floating?
I think so. I don't know if I have 25 of these blue guys yet, though. We'll find out, I guess. So we'll let them freak out. Meanwhile, I think I have too many red guys out. Yeah, these guys aren't doing anything, so let's put them back. And I need to blow up all these walls. Hey, these guys get so... OSEG! These guys just get so distracted on everything. Like, that's all they do. And they're just like, oh, a pebble. Shiny. Okay, let's get all these guys back in. Let's rotate our bearings to find where the blue guys were. Which means I should be able to pull, hopefully, 14 blue guys out. I hope I have 14 blue guys. 8! Is that enough? Did I do math wrong? I'm even close. I just want to get it out of the water.
Why would you need it for?
I need it to actually, oh here. These guys should. Actually, let's be smart about it. Oh, that's a ship part. I don't know if it's useful because it's basically a giant floaty. Okay, let's yellow, blue. Okay, yellow, blue. Okay, that should give me
2.
4 more.
Oh, 4.
Is 4 enough?
I think you had 19.
19, so I need a little more. Oh, too late. Come on, yellow and blue. Okay, that's 8 more. And getting them. Hey. Cool, that was so useful. Oh, and what are these guys doing here? Did they just not come along? Okay, so I have 13, 14, 15. Come on. And... come on. So, yesterday I was listening to a radio lab, and it was talking, so they were saying this is our first radio lab where we actually bring you breaking news. And if you don't know what Radio Lab is, it's a podcast where these journalists actually do like a fairly good job at like investigating a story. They do a fairly good job at investigating a story to the point where they kind of get all the nitty-gritty details on one particular subject and then share it with everyone over a podcast. And this particular one was the first time they had breaking news. And specifically, it was regarding some proteins that are part of Alzheimer's. So the way they described it, when you have Alzheimer's, you have a buildup of gunk in your brain of like proteins that usually get cleaned up by your cells that are in your brain. But over time, with people with Alzheimer's, it does not get cleaned up at all. So they have this buildup that basically prevents them from being able to remember things. And for the longest time, they thought that like once you lose a memory due to Alzheimer's, you lost it forever. Like you're never getting that back. But they were saying that they were looking into the brain and they found that everything is kind of like on a different clock cycle. So different kinds of thoughts have a different pattern to them. And there's one of them called the gamma frequency that was found to be related to Alzheimer's. And they discovered that if they drilled a little hole into a mouse's head and basically had put a fiber optic cable through the mouse's head that had Alzheimer's and had a little blinking light go off into the mouse's brain, it would kind of revert the symptoms of Alzheimer's in that particular mouse during the time that it was getting these flashes. And then they even later discovered that instead of drilling a hole in the mouse's head, what they can instead do is just flash light around the mouse over time, like at that frequency, and it would actually do the same thing. So they kind of discovered a way to not cure Alzheimer's, but sidestep the problem for people that were affected such that they're not directly affected anymore, which was kind of really cool, I think. Of course, they mentioned that this was only, like as studies say, this was only on mice that they tested all of this, so it's not clear yet if this same effects is on humans as well. So they still need to look into that. But it was a rather interesting conclusion nonetheless. Interesting, no?
Mm-hmm.
And I particularly like Radiolab because they tend to go over lots of topics that are quite interesting. Like one of them I remember is investigating the origins of domestication. Like we as humans kind of over time evolved to be intelligent and social animals, but we can kind of see that in other social animals as well. Like dogs can be fairly intelligent. You can teach them, they can learn, and they are also social animals. Bonobos are other kinds of social animals. Like they form large social groups. They're relatively peaceful to each other, unlike chimpanzees. And they also have a basic level of learning that and sharing and tool making, or tool using, I should say, that is not really found in other animals, right? So they were wondering like where this comes from, and specifically they were looking at a science experiment that, if I remember correctly, it was like done, I don't know where I'm going. It was done in like Soviet Russia, where this guy was a biologist and he was interested in learning about the social interactions of any more Pikmin? He was interested in learning about the social interactions of foxes. Not the social interactions, but what would happen if he were to try to domesticate a fox, basically. So what he did is, under the disguise of using foxes to make coats for the army or whatnot, he would breed foxes, and he would see if there's a nice fox that did not attack him, he would breed that one. And if there was an aggressive fox, he would kill it and make it into a coat. And he would continue that process until he had over, I think, 50 generations, or 10 years of breeding. He had essentially a domesticated fox. And these things were basically like dogs. They were very docile. They seeked attention. Why are they not killing this thing? they seeked attention, and they wagged their tail, and they peed themselves when they saw you, and they were the nicest things. And I believe this place is still open today, if you want to look into it. But the story goes that along with the traits of kind of what you would consider a domesticated animal to have, they found other traits as well. So, like tails grew shorter. You'd have like a white strip along the backs of the animals. They would vocalize more, so that means they would bark more as they like saw you coming, and they'd otherwise get quite excited. I'm gonna stop throwing these guys. They'd otherwise get quite excited, and the hypothesis was, like, what happens if during domestication you get a whole bunch of other genes for free? Some being like increased intelligence, increased socialization, and increased vocalization, which allows species like humans to actually change and be able to speak and have language and further intelligence in that species. And it was a very interesting story, so I encourage everyone to listen to it, because as I said, it's very interesting. And if you're interested in linguistics or in evolution in general, in domestication, the same kind of thing happened with dogs a long time ago. Same kind of thing happened with cattle to a different extent. But if we look at like existing animals, and you look at like bonobos, those animals kind of domesticated themselves through social interaction, and as a result, you can kind of see a glimpse of what our past as a human species might have looked like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, we got blue Pikmin who somehow evolved from red and yellow Pikmin a long time ago. And they're colorful. Conveniently colored so that way we know what they're used for. Anywho, bye-bye everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Linh-chan, Dimi-chan, Linh-chan, Linh-chan, Dimi-chan, Linh-chan, Dimi-chan, Linh-chan, Dimi-chan, Dimi-chan, Dimi-chan.